Namaste. Suswagatam to our program Gyan Ganga Words of Wisdom on our Virat Hindustan Sangam social media channels. Today is Ram Navami, and I wish all our friends across the globe a happy Ram Navami. It's a very significant day for us because 2 years ago, just at the onset of the COVID lockdown, Virat Hindustan Sangam under Dr. Subramaniam Swamy started this program on Ram Navami Day in the year 2020, and it has been 2 years since then. And we have completed 152 episodes. Today is the 153rd episode of our Sunday show. Earlier, Avatar was a daily show, which we subsequently, after relaxation of the COVID lockdown, we made it into a Sunday show at 8 p.m. I have a very interesting topic today, which we will be discussing in the next 45 minutes with Dr. Swamy. The topic is National Herald Scam. What is the present status of the case? Because there have been a lot of development, also some lot of disinformation being spread. So we have with us today, besides Dr. Swamy, we have Sri R Venkatesh, who has appeared in our show earlier. And R Venkatesh is a CA turned lawyer, and he has been an author of numerous books. Just to mention two books, Sense, Sex and Sentiments, and another book, Dr. Manmohan Singh, A Decade of Decay. These are the two books. Besides various, he has written various handbooks and other issues on other issues. And he is, as you all know, a commentator on the TV channels on many economic and political issues. And we welcome him to our show, R Venkatesh. We also have with us another person who has done intensive research on National Herald, and he has written a book, National Herald Fraud. That is Sree Iyer, and he is, as you know, the man behind PGurus, the website which is daily watched by those in power and those who are not in power. And he has daily some important discussion or some important exposure on his web channel. And so he is based in the US. Sree Iyer is based in the US, and is an engineer turned inventor and has nearly 38 patents to his credit. And besides this book, National Herald Fraud, he has written numerous other books like NDTV Fraud, Rise and Fall of AAP, C Company, Who Painted My Money Red, and some other colors, various books on various subjects. And you must have all read about it. And he has been on our show earlier. So we welcome him to our show. Sree Iyer, welcome to our show. And today, both these gentlemen, along with Dr. Swamy, will enlighten us on the various aspects and the present status of the National Herald Scam. I also have to thank my co-host, Ramesh Swamy, and Professor Arvind Chaturvedi for being with us on this show since the very inception. And I also have to thank our technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Tejas Navalgul, Swaminathan, Ishwar Iyer, Gadgi Rakesh, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair for their weekly inputs to put this and being behind the scene and put this program together. With these words, it is over to Dr. Swamy to initiate this discussion on the present status of the National Herald case and tell us more about it and how things will move forward. Over to Dr. Swamy.
Thank you, Jagdish. It's a very appropriate moment you have chosen this topic, and I think it's now a developing story after the corona. It had gone into the darkness of that period. Now we have two people who have actively participated in the development of this crime, I should say, in taking it forward. Venkatesh not only is a lawyer and an accountant, but he actually came as a witness for me, and he presented that whole case so very well that the magistrate was extremely impressed and that's how we got the summons issued against what people thought will never happen, that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi would get summons in India. So we got him here. It's very good, and of course, Sree Iyer has been writing about it, publicizing it, and making people aware, and wrote an excellent book, which I think I had the pleasure of releasing, if I'm not wrong, and in a function in Delhi. I'm only wondering whether we all three are Iyers, or one of you is an Iyengar. Uh, so anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. All three of us are Tamils, and we should be least interested in what's happening in the north, but this is an all India thing, and I think the country will be greatly benefited once we formally convict the accused in this matter. I will make a few short points of the current situation, because your topic says what is the present position. As you know, the summons was issued. Then Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Motilal Vora, Oscar Fernandez, Suman Dubey, and Sam Pitroda, all the six accused had to come to Patiala House Court, and all had to stand, and they pleaded not guilty, but then they applied for bail. I did not oppose the bail, because it's meaningless at this stage for them to go to jail. As you know, while the case is going on, let the case be completed. It's essentially a white collar crime. It's a crime, but it's a white collar crime. So I did not press for their being not denied bail, and but they had to file a surety. So Sonia Gandhi named Anthony, and Rahul Gandhi named his sister, who was mostly in tears in the entire proceedings, and each of them named somebody or the other. And it was a moment which people could never believe would happen in India. At least that was the propaganda throughout. And it changed the whole climate, that yes, we can fight corruption. Whether we have succeeded in using that atmosphere and all, that's another matter. But the fact is that this can happen. And that has been now firmly established. Now, after the summons, I wrote some letters. I wrote a letter to the Finance Ministry on the income tax. I wrote on the Enforcement Directorate, going into the money laundering angle, and also I've written on whether how they can have this, how this whole huge buildings, and they not only had it in Delhi, but they had huge plots being also allotted all over the country. I think at least in 7 states, and all them was being misused. Somewhere a hotel was being constructed. Somewhere there were one of these shopping centers had been, I think it was in Bhopal. So all these had to be gone into. So I wrote these letters, and then cases were registered. But then nothing much happened. But I must say, to the credit of the Income Tax Commissioner at that time, by name is um, I think with the name it
Rameshwar
was
Singh.
Rameshwar
Rameshwar Singh.
Rameshwar Singh. Absolutely the most honest income tax officer there has been. And he then ordered an inquiry, and he did a thorough job. And the government of India, and particularly because the principal secretary to the Prime Minister, Mr. Nrpendra Mishra, at that time, he's not there. I'm sorry he's not there. He should have been there lifelong, because he was such a straightforward person and so educated and so articulate. He was able to dig out a section in the income tax, section 138, which provides for anyone getting a document which is considered confidential, but if it's in the public interest, then that income tax can give the document. So when Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi were charged with having evaded income tax, that original document was given to me for filing in the court. And this one is the second year. That one's for 1 year, and then now this is second year. And so we have reached a stage where the data are absolutely, complete. And the only joke I have cracked in this very, very serious matter is that the what really happened was there were three institutions. The institution which owned National Herald, that was the Associated Journals Limited, which was chaired by Motilal Vora, and then the Congress Party, which also played a role by giving loans, which they never collected back. Whether they gave the loans or not, also I don't know. Whether they, because it made a paper transaction to fool the people or to recycle black money, I don't know. But that we will get into that later on. But there also the person who was in charge of the treasury was Motilal Vora. And finally, the newly created company called Young Indian. I'm sorry we couldn't accommodate Gopi Krishnan. He also played a great role by writing one email to Rajiv Gandhi, who thoroughly implicated himself in reply to him, which I used in court very successfully. So maybe on another occasion we'll have Gopi Krishnan also come and tell. A lot of our friends, this whole team there, they all share the credit. I mean, I get the publicity, but it doesn't matter. I'm in politics. I need publicity, but you guys don't need publicity. So, but worked very hard, laid the foundation. And we are now in a situation where charges are to be framed. We are held up on silly things, which the Congress strategy appears to go on delaying. So if I ask for a document, they will oppose it. And if I oppose it, then if the magistrate makes a mistake, I have to go to the High Court to get it quashed. Or if it goes against them, they go to the High Court. So a lot of this time, people ask why is taking so much time, because our system of criminal jurisprudence is that a man is presumed to be innocent till proven guilty. So therefore, they are supposed to give a lot of latitude. So people shouldn't get impatient. Just this I will never give up. None of my colleagues are going to give up. We will bring it to the conclusion, because it's a cut and dried situation. There are four criminal charges, and now what has happened new is that the income tax has put a fine on Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Why? Why not the others? Because of the 6 board members, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi together had 80% of the shares. Then 10% was for Motilal Vora and Oscar Fernandez, and for Sam Pitroda and the other journalist, that journalist fellow, I forget his name, Dubey, yes. They had 0. So, but Motilal Vora has died, and so his 10% has gone shared between Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, and Oscar Fernandez also died, and therefore Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have 50%. So the company really surely belongs to the family. And while when Motilal was alive, he was the chairman of the Associated Journals Limited, and he was also treasurer of Congress Party, and he was also a director of Young Indian. So when Young Indian decided that we will acquire Associated Journals Limited, the trick they did was that Associated Journals Limited did not repay the Congress loan. So what that means, the company closed. So the Congress that loan could not be recovered. So what Young Indian did is told Congress Party, you are losing all this 90 crores. We'll give you 50 lakhs, and you assign this dud payment or does loan to us. And so Congress Party argued, that well, we have lost everything, lost all the 90 crores, but at least it got 50 lakhs. So we'll accept young Indians' offer of 50 lakhs and give the claim for their 90 crores to young Indian. Who argued with Congress? Motilal Vora. With whom did he argue? With Motilal Vora, because he was. So Motilal Vora argued with Motilal Vora of Congress Party and got this right to recover the loan of 90 crores at the price of 50 lakhs, which they paid. Then Motilal Vora went to this company, national company, Associated Journals Limited, and there he argued with Motilal Vora. So Motilal Vora argued with Motilal Vora, you can't pay this 90 crores back. So what you should do, issue 9 crore shares of 10 rupees each and give it to us. So to wipe out this this loan, Motilal Vora ordered for in response to Motilal Vora of Young Indian that okay, we are issuing 9 crore shares, all in the name of Young Indian, and that means Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, and therefore 99.99% of the shares of Associated Journals became the property of Young Indian. That's how the crime was committed. All fraud, all through. And of course, I don't want to go into more detail. I won't take more time, except to say that today a forward movement has taken place, and Corona is also now thing. Now we have physical arguments in court, so normalcy is coming. So please expect that we'll accelerate. Some people in Congress saying that now that since Lok Sabha is coming in 2024, therefore Swamy is accelerating it. Well, of course, I mean, if you have nothing to hide, what are you worried? In 2024, nothing will happen. But if you are convicted, of course, then of course, Congress party will have to, then Chidambaram and for on another case of Aircel Maxis, etc., all the congressmen, the entire working committee can have a meeting in Tihar jail, you see, all together. I mean, I'm making it easy for them to run their party because they will have accommodation and free food, everything there. So this is a turning point that has happened. Congratulations to the officials, and I would like to see them do the other things. For instance, I must say, to the credit of Hardeep Puri, he had taken very strong steps to see that the buildings of the National Herald are all taken over, especially in the Bahadur Shah Zafar Marg. It's a huge building. It must be worth crores and crores. And that really belongs to the government now, because these people have defrauded, they've cheated, they are using it for renting out to in fact, the passport office is now in that, and the passport office of the government of India is paying rent to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. That is too much. So, but then they went to court. They lost it in the lower court. Then they lost it in the High Court. They lost in the division bench. Now they go to Supreme Court. And Supreme Court, I don't know what has happened to our Solicitor General, Mr. Tushar Mehta. He has not even pressed for an early hearing. This is an urgent matter. Even the Supreme Court would have agreed to have an hearing, because it's, after all, it has been rejected. The plea of the Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have been rejected in all other levels. So Supreme Court will also dismiss it quickly. Then we can take that building and it will become government property, and all the other properties around the country. So, but it's not being done. Income tax also they have, when now it's got cleared, I'm sure they will come now back to Supreme Court. It should be, Prime Minister should order this lazy Solicitor General of ours, please get into action, because then everything is, even Ram Setu matter, you see, the Solicitor General is not doing anything, because they have to file an affidavit in reply to the notice that was issued to them. So I'm saying that when people ask me all the time, why is it delaying? You're not now, you're going to join Sonia Gandhi, you're going to join, all kinds of rubbish is being put out by these 𝙒𝙗𝙤𝙤 and 𝗏𝑔𝑒𝑠 and Gandhis. But the fact of the matter is, anybody is delaying it, the government is delaying it, and I would like to see the government take it forward. So we have a open and shut case, according to me. I don't know what these two experts will tell us. I'm sure they will agree with me because I have had discussions with them. So over to first we'll ask Venkatesh, because he's a man who's on the battlefield, while our friend Iyer, Sree Iyer, he's more like the commander in chief, sitting behind the air conditioned rooms in the air conditioned rooms and using computers to, to decide the future of the war. So first to Venkatesh, then to Iyer. Over to you, Venkatesh.
Good evening, Doctor, and happy Ram Navami to all the viewers. So as Dr. Swamy said, this is going to be one of the most interesting, important cases, both in the field of criminal jurisprudence and in terms of income tax also. As Dr. Swamy has already explained the case, the reason why we are discussing today is primarily because there is an Income Tax Appellate Tribunal order that has come a couple of days, perhaps last week, and it's a 570-page order. Now, what is so important about an Income Tax Appellate Tribunal? Why are we getting excited about it? Is, as far as the Income Tax Act is concerned, the facts are disputed up to the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal stage. The tribunal is the last fact-finding body, unlike several other laws where you can still appeal and you can introduce fresh documents and go up. Whereas in the income tax law, you only appeal on questions of law, and facts are nailed more or less when it comes to the tribunal. So as far as this case is concerned, they have completed the exercise of finding out the facts, ferreting out all the facts. They are completed on this exercise, and this cannot be disturbed by more or less any other forum unless it's going to be High Court or Supreme Court. So to this extent, I think under the provisions of Criminal Procedure Code, where they are asking Dr. Swamy to lead the evidence, and they are asking him to provide all the documents, all he has to do is probably rely on this 570 pages of absolute legal documents of the appellate tribunal, the absolute findings of this appellate tribunal, and tell the judge, yes, here it is, what I have said is what they have said. But they didn't stop there. And that's the most damning part of it is the appellate tribunal is perhaps far more stringent than Dr. Swamy. Given a choice, I think Sonia Gandhi would prefer Dr. Swamy's charges than the appellate tribunal, because the tribunal has gone a couple of steps. And I will read one or two paragraphs, which is very interesting, and this is for people to know. The appellate tribunal draws reference to the income tax assessment officer, that is Rameshwar Singh's order, and says the transaction was a part of a well-devised scheme involving series of steps with the intention to earn significant benefit as embodied in business assets of AJL. The assessee undertook a series of steps over a period of time, and these steps are culminated during the year under consideration to achieve a premeditated objective of taking over AJL in order to get several benefits from business assets of AJL having a fair market value of 413 crores to derive value from this property. It's amply clear from the analysis of the steps that even though the transaction of getting benefit from the properties of AJL by takeover of AJL was one transaction, however, it involved several steps, some real and some fraudulent. This is the word used. So, honorable members of the parliament must note that whenever they are sitting in the Lok Sabha next to Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, they are sitting next to fraudsters. So this is the word of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. And with the real and distinct intent of enjoying the benefit of the properties from the day of incorporation of the assets. Then this matter was held against the Gandhis by the assessing officer, and he said we have to add 413 crores of income in the hands of young Indian. Because of this transaction, you have benefited up to 413 crores. The matter goes to the Income Tax Commissioner, which is the next stage. The Commissioner says, yes, I agree with the Income Tax Officer, and he has his own masala. Now you see what he says. He has his own independent thinking on this transaction. He says, it is a matter of record that only expenditure incurred by the assessee company during the year under consideration was to purchase a non-existent loan. Dr. Swamy, please note, this is very interesting, that the Congress party has for long said that they had advanced loan of 90 crores to AJL and they loan to Young India. But the fact of the matter is the income tax commissioner says that there was to purchase a non-existent loan of 90.21 crores through a fraudulent transaction, and in subsequent assessment year, the only expenditure incurred by the assessee company was to create provision for interest expenditure allegedly meant to pay interest on loan of rupees 1 crore taken from a Hawala entry operator in Kolkata. That is the Dotex company from where they are supposed to have taken 1 crore. They couldn't take 1 crore even from a honest man. So it is like they don't want to deal with anybody remotely concerned with honesty. They would deal only with Hawala operators, fraudulent entries, scamsters, mafiosi. They wouldn't deal with anybody honest. So this is very, very interesting. Now, after this order of the commissioner appeals, then the Young India comes to the appellate tribunal. They raise 16 grounds of appeal, 12 of which have been confirmed, in the sense the order of the income tax officer has been confirmed by the tribunal. Out of 4, I think 1 has been remitted back to the assessing officer, and 3 minor concessions have been given. Now I'll come to the net implications, which is very interesting. It is on page 522 of the order. They say, what is the benefit you have derived? They say Delhi property at 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥 Marg, New Delhi, with which was in the background of R 𝑉𝑒𝑛𝑘𝑒𝑠ℎ𝑔's screen. That is worth 201.84 crores. Then they have valued Patna property at 4.9 crores, Panchkula property as 32.25 crores, Mumbai property at 120 crores. They have, as I said, they had some doubt about the manner of calculation of Lucknow property. So they have remitted the matter back to the income tax assessing officer to complete the calculation. Now, as on date, the benefit is 356 crores. If you add Lucknow property of say 40 crores, it will be roughly 400 crores. Instead of 413 crores, the concession will now come to 13 crores, and they have to pay tax on 40 crores or 400 crores. Now, 400 into 30% is 120 crores of taxes alone. Now, this was in 2012. You have to pay interest from 12 to 22. That may be another probably 80-90 crores. Rough calculations suggest it will be 80-90 crores, 200 crores. And since these are all frauds, bogus entries, bogus loan being purchased, dealing with Hawala transactions, all sorts of mess they have created, this would suggest that they would have to pay a 300% penalty on the taxes. So 120 crores of taxes, 360 crores of penalty. So it will be 480, another interest of 80, 560, 600 crores is what will be the bill finally when it comes to dealing with this tax matter. Now, if they have to pay this much amount of taxes, somebody has to lend them this money and make them pay. That's going to be humongous. We would like to know who is going to lend 600 crores. Or they have to let go of the property, and this property will be auctioned and the government has to take over. But the more important thing is that, as I said, the Congress party has not lent this loan to AJL. 90 crores of bogus entries was both in the books of Congress party and AJL. This is very, very serious. This goes to the root of the matter, that here is a political party not only writes a false book of entry in its books of accounts, but also sells it off bogusly to another party of 50 lakhs, which it is not sold to me or to Mr. Iyer. Had they sold it on, it's again an arm's length transaction, it can be accepted. They sold it on to the president and president's son, and that is that bogus entry has sold to. So you see the cascading effect. It's one compounding on the other. So they are in a huge spiral downwards. So as I see, now let me come to something very important which I would like to point out, that it is now no longer a fact that the Gandhis are to be let out of this country. Now, the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal is a very serious fact-finding body, and 570 pages of serious discussions I've got. It is not frivolous, it is not flippant, it is not flamboyant. It is on the dot, it is coming to the point. It is absolute legalist. I could not find one sentence which was out of place or it was exaggerated. It was all done, and the Congress party was represented by senior advocates, a battery of lawyers, and they have painstakingly gone through it, and then they have come to this conclusion that this is the amount of gains that the young Indians have made. Now, it is very important that the government of India will have at least one passport record of the Gandhis in their files. At least one. When I say at least one, all of us know that the Gandhis may be probably having a couple of passports, but government of India will at least have a record of one. At least it must make sure that the Gandhis don't exit from this country and they are put into the long process of law very clearly. So this must be the fundamental prayer, because we have come to a stage. It is no longer in realms of conjectures. It is the proven facts are absolutely proven. Now, all that Dr. Swamy will have to do is to place this. I'm sure Dr. Swamy and all of us legally, we will discuss this next few days and try to bring it to the trial court, and that's going to happen very shortly. But this, if it is brought to the attention of the trial court, unless the trial court has a different view, I don't see how the trial court can ignore this document. And this order of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal is in turn based on the division bench judgment of the Delhi High Court in the property case. So each one it's like a spaghetti bowl, and the pun is intended, because each one gets onto their throat in a cycle, vicious cycle, and each one piles on to the other, and that is what it is. So as I see it, it's going to be a very hot summer. It's an early summer already in Delhi, but it's going to be a hot summer for the Gandhis. And as I see it, we will be going to the trial court and presenting this particular order of the judgment of the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. And it is now over to Dr. Swamy and to the trial court to take the matters forward. Of course, all of us will be playing the role of the squirrel when Lord Rama was carrying on his battle with Ravana. But each one of us will try to put in our best efforts to take it to the logical conclusion. So in conclusion, it is a very, very pivotal moment in this case that this appellate tribunal, the income tax appeals commissioner, the income tax officer, all have done extraordinary work under extraordinary pressure. This is the most important thing, that they have done a fabulous job. They have nailed the young Indian directors, Gandhis, whatever you call them. But now it is very important. I recall that in July 2014, when the Modi government had just taken over weeks into the Modi government, Dr. Swamy walked up to the Enforcement Directorate and had filed a complaint with the Enforcement Directorate. And that file is still not yet taken to a logical conclusion. No ECIR has been registered by the Enforcement Directorate. They should now, given this finding that the 90 crore is a bogus loan, and the bogus loan was purchased through a bogus entry by taking 50 lakh rupee loan from a bogus Hawala operator. Now, this is what it is. So many boguses, you will find out very difficult to keep track of who is bogus and who is fraudulent, who is a scamster. So, it is important that ED must step in at this point in time, and they should take the right steps under law, under the PMLA, and book the Gandhis also under the PMLA. So, as things stand, Income Tax Department, I am told, is in the process of giving the notice for prosecution of the Gandhis. Yeah. Apart from the taxes of 560, 600 crores that they have to pay, most likely to pay, there is also a likelihood that they have to face prosecution under the Income Tax Act, prosecution by Dr. Swamy, and then a potential prosecution by the ED. So the choice is theirs. They can take spaghetti, or they can take pizza, or they can take whichever they like. The choice is entirely theirs, but everything will be served only in Tihar. So thank you, Dr. Swamy. I will be happy to answer any question. Over to you, Dr. Swamy.
Yeah. Before I go to Sree Iyer, and then we'll come around for our discussion, I just want to tell you that why you were talking about Ramchandraji and monkeys, you should talk in terms of Pandav brothers or something like that. Each of us has played a role. You see, get more modern. I mean, this is what we call as a Mahabharat, and we are at Kurukshetra. So that is how we should view ourselves. Over to our great friend, Mr. Sree Iyer. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy, and a Shubh Ram Navami to everyone. Jai Shri Ram. And it's always a pleasure to be part of Gyan Ganga. And what I want to just touch upon a couple of things that MRB mentioned. One is about making sure that the Gandhis don't flee. There are many ways that they can. The first thing that I want to bring to attention of our viewers, also to the government, is that it is known that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has 2 Indian passports. Nobody else, sir, not even you, nor I.
I have given an application to the Home Minister. He's sitting on it.
So as far as I know, the names are Rahul Gandhi and 𝙒𝙗𝙬𝙬. And when the person who was supposed to issue the second passport said that there are no provisions, he was basically shut down. He was an IAS officer. Look, you just don't ask questions, issue this thing, blah, blah, blah. And so he has 2 Indian passports. And again, Dr. Swamy has unearthed the possibility that he has a third passport of United Kingdom, because that is what he has signed.
Yes.
In company's house. We have to say these things because everything that we come across, Dr. Swamy, you, I, PGurus, anybody who does investigation, Gopi Krishnan, UPA ran the country for 10 years as if it is their personal fiefdom. Rules don't matter to us. People don't matter to us. Nothing matters to us. We are going to ride roughshod. And to be able to stand up to all that and win, see, that is what people need to understand, what Dr. Swamy has accomplished. It is not easy when you have a tsunami going against you. There is a great, clever, evil genius who tries to create, how many farces he has tried to create? Ishrat Jahan stuff and Hindu terror stuff. And then, of course, the great thing that is still unraveling, the NSE scam.
Yes.
I mean, this person was, I just can't describe. That's why he's an evil genius. Genius part is all there, but the evil is the one that is predominating in all these things. And in a previous hangout, Mr. MRV hinted that the evil genius's hand was at work, even in this case, the way it was structured.
Yes.
And Dr. Swamy, again, we have to mention that this, in my opinion, this government should be fast-tracking the National Herald case. You know why, sir? Information has come that the same set of shell companies have also funded another party, which you have termed as the B party, Team B of Congress, and this is now winning elections in different states. It should be all the more incentive for the BJP government to close this thing once and for all. I mean, there is a fraud fundamental. On top of that, you have a mini silo coming up, another fraud, and this fraud is suddenly becoming bigger than the original fraud.
Yes.
Pull the thing from under their feet, rug from under their feet. This is just, I mean, Dr. Swamy, thinking that going after Indira Gandhi proved disastrous for the Morarji Desai government, if that is the logic that this government is using, I think that is not fair, because here they have basically completely raised the foundations of so many different institutions, Dr. Swamy.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
go ahead.
One last thing before I finish up. The book is organized not as a chapter form, but in a chronological form. And I felt it was important because it was like many trains were leaving, Panchkula train, Bombay train, Lucknow train, Delhi, there was another train, and so on and so forth. So as you see the book, as you go through the book, it is chronologically there. So you can find out that at some point they are like fighting 3 different cases in 3 different courts. And hopefully these things will come down to a conclusion reasonably quickly. Now, it shouldn't come too close to 2024 elections, because then again they'll start crying victimhood. It is better to do it now and finish it once and for all.
Yeah. Thank you, Sree Iyer. Before I ask my other colleagues to come in, I will tell you that yes, you were right. We should go for the conclusion of this matter, and can be done. And if the government were supportive and ensured that I got support in the courts also, because the courts actually I feel being obstructed, and I'm also being obstructed by people in the PMO to see that the most important thing that needs to be done is I should be prevented from going to Parliament again. You see, how to send me out of Parliament is something that seems to be exercising the PMO nowadays very strongly. It doesn't matter. In fact, I did all this, including getting the sanction, the summons issued when I was not an MP. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether I'm an MP or not an MP. This matter, I will do it as my duty to the nation. And I hope the Prime Minister wakes up and knows that these are the important things that need to be done. One less trip to America, you should spend that time for this case. So, having said that, let me ask Mr. Arvind Chaturvedi to give his valuable opinion on this matter. Now that you are sitting in the place by, which is a loot, material of loot, you should give us some explanation.
Arvind, I have a request. Please speak in Hindi if possible.
हाँ, वही मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ. हमारे बहुत से दर्शक हैं जो नेशनल हेराल्ड के मामले में बहुत ही रुचि रखते हैं और उनके जानकारी के लिए भी और उनके फायदे के लिए मैं थोड़ी सवाल हिंदी में पूछना चाहता हूँ. डॉक्टर स्वामी, आपने पूरे मामले को अच्छी तरह से परिभाषित किया और मैं धन्यवाद करूंगा R वेंकटेश का और श्री अय्यर जी का, जिन्होंने इस मामले पे और ज्यादा प्रकाश डाला. मेरे जो बैकग्राउंड में आप ये बिल्डिंग देख रहे हैं, नेशनल हेराल्ड की बिल्डिंग, 20, 30, 25 साल पहले हम वहाँ जाते थे जब नेशनल हेराल्ड अखबार निकलता था वहाँ से. अब वहाँ से कोई अखबार नहीं निकल रहा, जबकि पूरी जमीन बहादुर शाह जफर मार्ग पर इसीलिए दी गई थी ताकि वहाँ से समाचार पत्रों का प्रकाशन हो सके और बहुत ही कंसेशनल दाम पे, बहुत ही नॉमिनल दाम पे दी गई थी. जब से नेशनल हेराल्ड का वहां से प्रकाशन बंद हुआ है, पहली बात तो वो डिस्क्वालीफाई हो गए इस बिल्डिंग के लिए, उनको नहीं करना चाहिए था. और दूसरा, उन्होंने चोरी और सीनाजोरी करते हुए इसको भारत सरकार के एक विभाग को किराए पर दे दिया, जो पासपोर्ट कार्यालय वहां पे खुला और उससे लाखों रुपए की आमदनी प्रति माह यंग इंडियन को होती रही, क्योंकि उन्होंने एजीएल जो थे, इनके प्रकाशक थे, एजीएल से यंग इंडियन उसके मालिक बन गए. अब ये मामला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है और जिस प्रकार ईडी ने पंचकूला की जमीन को, पंचकूला में जो जमीन थी नेशनल हेराल्ड के नाम, उसको उन्होंने ईडी ने जब्त कर लिया, उसी प्रकार क्या ये कोई संभावना है? आपने हरदीप पुरी जी का जिक्र किया था कि उन्होंने बहुत ही तुरंत कार्रवाई की, तो इस बिल्डिंग के बारे में डॉक्टर स्वामी और R वेंकटेश जी आप बताएं कि क्या संभावना है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट कब आ सकता है और किस प्रकार से इस बिल्डिंग को सरकार या ईडी टेक ओवर कर सकती है?
वन इंटरप्शन, मैं ये कहूँगा कि तुषार मेहता जो सॉलिसिटर जनरल है, उसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाकर कहना ये अर्जेंट मैटर है, ये बहुत समय बीत गया है और इसमें सारा जो आमदनी है वो आ रही है, वो तो इनके पॉकेट में जा रही है, तो इसीलिए इसको अब अर्जेंट लिस्टिंग में इंक्लूड करना चाहिए. ऐसा कहेंगे तो कल इसका फैसला हो जाएगा. कहिए, और आपको कुछ कहना है अरविंद, या गो टू रमेश?
So, Dr. Swamy, I'm just going to read a few statements and I want your input on that. And you have to guess who said this, though. The government has no role in National Herald case. No file on National Herald is in the Enforcement Directorate.
He's not alive, so shall you want me?
The National Herald case, prima facie, is a very strong case. The Congress should just simply return the loan. The matter could end.
Yes, same person, same dead person.
So, is that what's happening today? Why is this not coming up at all? Is that the reason? I mean, one of the questions that came up, and one of the viewers said, is the government afraid that this will create sympathy for Sonia Gandhi?
You see, may I answer this at this stage itself?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead. You reply in Hindi. It's fine. Yes.
This is rubbish. No question of creating sympathy. I was there. I was a member of Lok Sabha at that time. And I was the head of the youth unit, and I was a member of the parliamentary party executive, which made the decisions. At no stage anybody brought up this issue that sympathy is being created for Mrs. Gandhi. In fact, they were said that we are being too lax, and people say we have nothing against her, we have just done propaganda. So therefore, that should be taken. The reason why Mrs. Gandhi came back is we broke the BJP into into several parties, not BJP, the Janata Party. So therefore, people were disgusted, and elections were declared as a consequence, and Moraji had to go. These were the factors which brought Mrs. Gandhi back. And then to go hide behind this thing, sympathy created, that suits the Gandhis if you project that. So any of us amongst us start saying sympathy factor, I will say you are speaking on behalf of Sonia Gandhi, and it is no truth whatsoever. In fact, the sympathy will go for her if we are not able to prosecute her. And the party should thank me that at least I have one case where they are in real danger, and I'm pursuing it on a daily basis. You see, despite the party targeting me for 1,000 things, including whether I should be given a chaprasi's post or not chaprasi's post, whether I should be in the national executive or not in the national executive, whether I should go to the parliamentary party, whether I should be allowed to open my mouth in parliament, all these I've faced it. But I'm saying that this country needs this family to just get out of politics, because they are just nothing but poison.
In 8 years, Dr. Swamy, nothing has happened. That's the challenge that we have today. MRV, go ahead.
No.
What is intriguing is that the Congress spokespersons have not reacted to this order. Understandable. Neither of the directors of Young India. Perfectly understandable. The media has been relatively silent, including those which are alleged or acknowledged to be favoring the ruling dispensation. They have been silent. But the spokesperson of BJP have also been silent. Otherwise, they should have they go tom and claim credit for all this act. They say that we have been the people who have been fighting this National Herald are completely silent. It's a radio silence on this particular matter from the Congress party, from the BJP, from the mainstream media. I know what's happening. I am at a loss to understand why there is such a deafening silence from all the sides. I can understand partially of why the Congress is silent. The other silence, I'm not able to understand. If Dr. Swamy can explain, I'll be grateful.
They are grieving, perhaps.
No, I have. No.
See, there is, you can see in Twitter, the PMO funded officials are all the time abusing us. And why? And one of them has even filed a defamation case against me. Of course, there's nothing in it, and it will be knocked down in the court. But the fact of the matter is that there seems to be some understanding, and some fake ideas are also being floated that if we have Sonia Gandhi in the opposition, it's good for us. This is exactly what Vajpayee said. And what happened is the BJP strength came down from 182 MPs to 116. And for 10 years, we could not come back to power. So don't please think that if Sonia Gandhi is a foreigner, therefore our people will never vote for her. They will vote if they feel desperate and or feel betrayed. That you promise that you will bring all the money back from abroad. You promise that you will fight corruption. What have you done? And what have we done to show that we are fighting corruption? Those who should have been caught before they boarded a flight, they have been allowed to go. I know how these conditions are relaxed so that they could run away to London. These are all in black and white. And the others, they are moving around. They are addressing meetings, all that. There is nothing that is being done. In fact, the only people who seem to be danger to the present leadership in BJP is those within the party.
I have a comment to Arvind. I want to make a comment.
Okay.
I have a comment to make, Dr. Swamy. This thing of sympathy vote Sonia will get is spread by the 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙦, Gandhis, promoted by the PMO's office. And I'm saying it deliberately to cover up for the incompetence of the government to prosecute Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. So this has been spread because the toolkit given to them is that they are not doing any action against these two corrupt people, the dynasty leaders of the Congress party. So when people ask them why they are not doing it, they try to spread this disinformation so that, to cover up for their inaction. But Dr. Swamy, my main question is, why you think these two people, not a single corruption case has been filed by Narendra Modi? मैं खाने नहीं दूंगा, मैं खाऊंगा नहीं, मैं किसी को खाने नहीं दूंगा. This was his popular slogan. So why you think not a single case has been filed against them? They talked during the election. Why not a single case has been filed against these corrupt Congress crooks, especially the dynasty crooks?
Yes, Arvind.
या मैं जो जगदीश शेट्टी जी ने सवाल उठाया है उसमें मैं थोड़ा ऐड करना चाहता हूं और आप तीनों लोग इसका उत्तर दे सकते हैं। जगदीश शेट्टी जी ने जो कहा, मैं इसको जोड़ रहा हूं, जब आपने ये केस फाइल किया था 2012 में, आप जनता पार्टी में थे। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के किसी भी नेता का इस नेशनल हेराल्ड केस में कोई योगदान नहीं है, जबकि अरुण जेटली जो बाद में जो वित्त मंत्री बने, उन्होंने तो राहुल गांधी को एक रास्ता सुझा दिया था कि आप पैसा दे दो, पैसा जमा कर दो, जो पैसा आपने लिया है, और ये केस खत्म हो जाएगा। आज अरुण जेटली जी नहीं है। तो क्या आपको लगता है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की लीडरशिप, जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का नेतृत्व है, वो उन्हीं के बताए हुए रास्ते पर चल रहा है और इस केस को किसी भी तरह कोर्ट के बाहर, न्यायालय के बाहर खत्म करना चाहता है, ताकि सोनिया गांधी पर और राहुल गांधी पर कोई किस्म की आंच न आने पाए?
मैं इसमें आपके साथ आपने जो कहा है, इसमें एक बात और जोड़ने चाहता हूँ। मैं लंदन गया था किसी लेक्चर देने के लिए। VHS के जो हमारे लोग हैं, उन्होंने लेक्चर अरेंज किया था पार्लियामेंट में। फिर मुझे किसी ऑफिशियल वहाँ उसमें मिल गए और उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि राहुल गांधी तो हमारी सिटीज़न हैं और हम और जो मजाक में उसने कहा, और हम उसके आधार पर कह सकते हैं कि आप इंडिया से आकर हमारे एक व्यक्ति को, एक नागरिक को आपने आक्रमण किया, उसके ऊपर आक्रमण किया। तो मैंने कहा, मैं आश्चर्यचकित हुआ। तो उन्होंने फिर बताया कि जो पब्लिकली अपलोडेड उनकी जो रजिस्ट्रार कंपनीज का नाम है कंपनी हाउस, उसमें अपलोड है, आप उसको डाउनलोड कर सकते हो। तो मैंने डाउनलोड किया। उसमें एक कंपनी ब्लैक ऑप्स, उसमें राहुल गांधी डायरेक्टर, चेयरमैन, सब कुछ है, और उसके दस्तखत है, और उसके हाथ में लिखी हुई योर सिटीजनशिप, ये कहता है ब्रिटिश सिटीजनशिप, 1 साल के लिए नहीं, 5 साल के लिए। और मैंने इस सब का फोटोस्टैट किया, भारत सरकार को दिया। भारत सरकार ने हमारे एम्बेसी को भेजा कि भाई ये डॉक्यूमेंट सही है या फोर्जरी है, पता करो। उन्होंने भी इंफॉर्मेशन भेजा। और हमारे जो गोपी कृष्णन है, उन्होंने जो लॉयर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस है, आई मीन लॉयर एक्सक्यूज मी, जर्नलिस्ट की मीटिंग्स जो होम मिनिस्टर करते हैं, तो उन्होंने इनको पूछा। राजनाथ, मैं जरूर कहूँगा कि उन्होंने एक शोकाज नोटिस भेज दिया था, उसका अभी तक जवाब नहीं दिया राहुल गांधी ने। बट उनको होम मिनिस्ट्री जाने के बाद अमित शाह ने आज तक उस पर कार्रवाई नहीं की। सीधी बात मैं कहता हूं कि सिर्फ उनको कहो कि तुमने शोकाज नोटिस का नहीं दिया तो हम आपके सिटीजनशिप को सस्पेंड करते हैं, क्योंकि आप आर्टिकल 9 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, आप दो देश की नागरिक नहीं बन सकते। तो ऑटोमेटिक कैंसिल लिखा है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में, तो ऑटोमेटिकली कैंसिल मत करो, सस्पेंड करो कि आप इंडियन सिटीजनशिप आपका सस्पेंड हो गया है। तो वो भी नहीं करने के लिए तैयार है। तो मैं पूछने चाहता हूं कि व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? हमसे क्यों पूछते हो? मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आती, आप मुझसे पूछते हो। जो समझा सकते हैं उनसे पूछिए। Anyone else wants to comment?
The laws don't seem to apply to this family, Dr. Swamy, and then also by extension, some of the UPA ministers. They don't believe that they are subject to the laws of India while they wield all the power. I mean, this is just how much more time can we wait? How long can we keep on providing facts? There is a limit to how patient. India is a very patient country, but this is an exercise in patience.
But Sri, we award those UPS with Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushans, and if not, why make them ministers also? No.
Yes, some have already been made.
Yeah.
I have a question to M R Venkatesh. M R Venkatesh, this latest order of 500 pages has come, but a similar order had come earlier, which I am told was rejected by the High Court and now is pending in the Supreme Court. In case
the order was not rejected. The opposition to the order was rejected.
What I will say, yes. So the matter, the Gandhis have gone to the Supreme Court, where two cases are pending. One is of the Estate Department, that is the DDA case for forfeiture of the land, which is under the DDA, that is the Ministry of Urban Development. That's a separate matter. But an income tax case arising of the same matter is pending in the Supreme Court.
No. You see, what had happened is they were told that they have to go to the appellate authority in the income tax, then come back. So that has happened. Now our Solicitor General should go to the Supreme Court and say, they have been, it's all been approved. And as our friend here, Venkatesh said, now the facts have been proved. And let us have a hearing on the punishment that is due. That is the way to go forward. Yeah, Venkatesh, you agree?
Yeah, they went on the reopening issue. The reopening issue was referred back to the tribunal. Tribunal has now decided everything on this reopening issue completely. They have to file this order and say that this is what it is. And they, of course, the Gandhis, the Young Indian directors, they have a right to go on and appeal into the Income Tax Act under Section 260, capital A and capital B. But that will be only on questions of law, not on facts.
Right.
Now it is like everybody has an issue with it. There is the same set of facts. The Estate Department feels on the same set of facts they are entitled to recover the properties from Panchkula, of Bahadur Shah, Zafar Mark, all these things. The income tax authorities feel that on the same set of facts and transaction, they are entitled to taxes. Dr. Swamy feels on the same set of facts, he must ensure, the court must ensure that Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, etc. must go to Tihar. So there are several people on the same set of transaction feel that a cause of action arising under various law must take its logical conclusion. That is, various proceedings are before various courts, but by and large on the estate matter, the Delhi High Court has given a very clear, division bench has given a very clear order, which is what is relied by the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. And that matter is pending before the Supreme Court. If that is also knocked off, I think this matter can go forward. I think on facts, I think now more or less it is certainty. And what is more damning is it is not only the facts that the Congress party's loan to AJL itself was bogus. So till date, we are giving a benefit of doubt to the fact that the Congress party has given 90 crore loan. That itself is now a bogus one. So it is in sham, off sham, by sham. So it is completed, a sham transaction.
I've included that in my petition as for Section 420 of the IPC.
Exactly. Now it also makes a good case for 420.
420, yes.
Dr. Swamy, I had a question. In the United States, sir, if a case is being lost in a lower court, the judge can pass the order saying that this may not be appealed at a higher court.
Yes.
And it is very difficult to overrule that. I mean, they can still appeal that. Very, very difficult to overrule that. Yeah. And even if they do go on appeal, the higher courts instantly dismiss those things or instantly look at that. Within 24 hours, it is settled and done. And Dr. Swamy, with so much backload in India, is there a provision like that in the Indian judicial system whereby the lower court level judge can say this stops here?
Well, no, we don't have any provision in any such law. But at the same time, I think it's something that can be easily introduced as an amendment to the Criminal Procedure Code and Civil Procedure Code. Yes.
Thank
It
you,
can be
sir.
done.
I think that's something that we should really look at.
Dr.
Yes.
Swamy, my question is to all three of you all. During the elections, run up to the elections of 2014, where you played a very important role to expose the UPA, the 2G scam, and spoke on Hindutva and against corruption. One of the main planks of the elections was that black money would be the black money which is stashed away abroad will be bought back. And if I recall, one of the first decisions of Modi government was to appoint an SIT headed by a ex-judge.
Two
judges. I want to know through you and R Venkatesh, what has happened to that SIT? How public memory can be so short, and what is the Modi Sarkar doing about it?
Okay.
Well, first of all, would you like to? Any of you start first? Yes.
Yeah, I would like to give you a first-hand information about this committee. It consisted of Chairman Mr. Shah and one more judge. The second judge and the first judge did not have an office, stenographer, Dawali, nothing. So I traced them that they were only sitting and operating from their respective houses. So I went and gave a petition about this to a particular judge. And that judge said, look, at my state, I can't even receive it. I don't have a stamp to receive it. So you trust me and give these papers to me, but I can't act on it because I don't have any infrastructure. So that was killed in the womb. I should say it very openly that this SIT was killed in the womb. And then the whole SIT was created because ED, CBI, Revenue Secretary, all these chaps were not functioning efficiently. That is what Supreme Court felt. Then it started a 12-member committee consisting of this very same people and got envelopes from this very same people sealed and gave it back to them and told them, please look into it. And that is how this farce came to an end. So Supreme Court even could not digest this farce. And so the SIT has been given a very decent burial. It is very indecent of us to talk about the SIT. So that is what it is.
Yeah. Sri Guru, Sree Iyer.
Well,
would you like to say something?
The governments make a lot of statements with no intent of carrying through what has been made. Lots of schemes, lots of things like this, where you have a feel-good factor for like 10 minutes when you say, oh, okay, some justice is going to be done, and then nothing happens after that. And the most important thing, Dr. Swamy, that I see here is that in television debates that I am an independent observer, and I find that I have more information about what the government has done, even positive, than the government spokesman. And why can't the BJP government have a daily press briefer, just like the way it happens in White House, sir? Nothing wrong in that. They have 90% good news. 90% is good news, sir.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Ramesh, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I just want to give a response to Jagdish ji. Jagdish ji, I just want to share. I think this is something. This happened in 2018 when the Supreme Court allowed the IT department to proceed with the case. The Prime Minister Modi said it was a win for his government. He said, after the Supreme Court order, the PM in an election rally, obviously, because it was 2018 and 2019 elections were coming. And obviously, in an election rally in Rajasthan, said the government has scored a win thanks to the courage of the chaiwala. Now I will see how you escape, Mr. Prime Minister. It's 2018. We're 4 years now. They seem to have escaped, right, Jagdish ji?
Yes, very much. In fact, our viewers are very upset that nothing has been done by the government. Only andhbucks and gunbucks are interested in spreading disinformation. I stand by that charge. They are interested in disinformation to cover up the failures of not prosecuting the guy. In fact, Dr. Swamy, many important questions have come up. One of them is, what is the meeting that takes place between the Gandhi Parivar and Modi? In fact, some of the viewers have been asking, why are these meetings kept secret? If there is nothing to hide, the Prime Minister, just like you meet many political parties or leaders across the spectrum, why is Modi hiding certain people, or Modi's people are hiding certain meetings which are secretly taking place?
Sree, I have one answer to your question. See, generally the public is already tortured by the amount of jalra that's happening on Twitter. Why do you want a spokesperson to continue to put that torture on us on TV, man? We already are facing enough torture. And Sree, literally none of them have the brains to do it. Let me put it this way. They don't have the brains. If all you're going to do is propaganda, might as well stick to Twitter.
Ramesh, we lost you.
Yeah, I think we are hearing him.
You've gone mute.
No.
not
We
for
are all
us.
able to hear him.
Okay.
Can you hear me
maybe
now?
it's something with my system. Maybe
Can
it's
you
my
hear me now?
system.
Can you hear me now?
You're audible. You're audible.
Yeah. So essentially, we don't have to go through the torture again of what's happening on Twitter, also on TV. It really doesn't matter. It's again another propaganda machine, literally. And they don't want to face any questions. That's the bottom line. Is once you have like a press meet, or if it go, what did you do? Like in the White House, you're going to be asked questions for which they don't have answers, because everything has to come from PMO. Period. However senior minister you are, everything has to come from the PMO. There's just no point doing it. That's why they're deliberately not doing it.
Yeah.
We are
Jagdish,
running out of time.
yeah, just
Dr. Swamy, please go ahead. No, not for you.
your question, there should be no room for plausible deniability. In other words, both of them deny it, then I'll be in, people ask me, what's your proof? So let me get proof, and then I will answer your question, whether such meetings have happened and what is the documentation for that. Now, coming back to one short point, and that is, you want money from abroad. There is a way which Egypt has done. Gaddafi it was done, and for Marcos it was done in Philippines. So you can adopt the same procedure. What is that procedure? That procedure was on the floor of Parliament as a nominated member of Rajya Sabha, Nariman spoke on it, and he also published a op-ed on it. The United Nations in the year 2005 passed a international convention stating that if any country gives an application to the United Nations that the such and such country has illegal accounts of Indians, and that the United Nations should ensure that this money is transferred to India. What the United Nations will then do is go to tell that country to freeze these accounts and check, in fact, whether these are illegal accounts, numbered accounts, or they are genuine accounts. And if they are numbered accounts, then it can be that should be immediately sent to that country. So Marcos in Philippines had banks, in Switzerland. That's why Switzerland now is becoming very, very open about disclosure and so on, because now there's no way to hide for very long. So Marcos Swiss bank accounts all were opened, and the money lifted and given to Philippines. Same thing with Egypt. Same thing with Gaddafi. So we have a situation where I have written a letter not once but 3 times to the Prime Minister that this is the way to do it. And he has acknowledged it but did nothing about it. So Government of India has no excuse not to get this money back. And the simplest way is, even today, go to the United Nations and say, these are the countries, 1, 2, 3. I can give them the countries if they want. These are the countries. And I'm telling you, our enforcement directorate has all this material already. We are not short of evidence. We are only short of will. And so these countries, name them, these countries, all the bank accounts of Indian citizens will be frozen on an order of the United Nations. And then after verification, the money will be transferred to India.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Arvind, I think we are running out of time for you to sum up the...
Our new norm is 1 hour, and we've already crossed that, 70 minutes. And the topics such as this, the endless debate can go on, and we have experts. Dr. Swamy, who initiated the whole thing, R Venkatesh, who was instrumental in fighting the case, Sree Iyer, who has written a book, and I'm sure he will have to update his book after the new proceedings, new information comes in. This topic can go on, and once this comes to a conclusion, and then we'll have a final debate on this issue. And of course, with whatever is government of India is doing, only one comment is enough. This government is not interested in punishing or prosecuting anybody from Gandhi family, whether it is Rahul Gandhi in backups or citizenship case, or even Vadra. In fact, from 2014, we are hearing this, that, Vadra's corruption will be brought out and he will be prosecuted, this and that. Nothing has happened in 8 years. So with this conclusion, I thank Dr. Swamy and two experts, PGurus Sree Iyer ji and R Venkatesh ji, the host of the show, 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙪 ji and Ramesh Swamy ji. Thanks the technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Gadgi Rakesh, Ishwar Iyer, Swaminathan, Tejas, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair. We will be meeting next Sunday once again at 8 p.m. with the new episode, 154th episode of Words of Wisdom Gyan Ganga. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.